Hello, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I'm from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our brand new Let's Play. Now I know you guys are probably thinking that originally I was gonna able to do this back in 2017, but we didn't get around to that. So because of that though, until 4 years later, then I'm finally about to begin the forms of a brand new Let's Play, which is a sequel to NiGHTS. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you our new Let's Play known as Knight's Journey of Dreams. As I mentioned this before, this is a sequel to the most beloved Sega Saturn game of all time, NiGHTS Dreams. And this game first came out in 2007 for the Nintendo Wii, in Japan and North America that is. But it wasn't until in our country in the UK, this game will later on came out in 2008. I mean, was this like something like very similar to Donkey Kong Jet Race or something? Maybe, it could be, but I digress. So I did manage to practice this game for a bit on file number 2, which originally that was supposed to be the 2017 project, but it has been delayed countless amount of times. But for now, we're going to be hit on to file 2 here, so even then though, I was going to able to do file 1, but I'm just going to have to go through file 2 as it is for the sake of this Let's Play for you guys. So either way though, let's go ahead and type in my name here, so just in case I can able to actually just Wow, it has been a while since I actually did manage to touch upon my Nintendo Wii. I think the last time I actually played my Wii, it was actually by the forms of trying to demonstrate the actual homebrew channel for the other day, but we'll talk more about that in the future. So either way though, yeah, let's get started. And of course, if you couldn't tell already what controller method I'm going to be going for, and that's the forms of the GameCube controller, because yes, much like Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and especially noticeable in any other Nintendo Wii games out there are 4 different types of controllers you can able to use. You can either use the Wii Remote on its own, or the Wii Remote and Nunchuck combo, or the classic controller, or even the GameCube controller. I myself prefer the GameCube controller due to its comfortable design and also the button layout. So either way though, that's what I'm going to be able to do for the sake of time. So now of course, much like in NiGHTS Dreams, I'm going to be focusing on story mode because much like in NiGHTS Dreams, you can select up to 2 different dreams. There is Will's dream as well as Helium's dream. The only differences between the two is that, well, it has been a while since I actually played NiGHTS Dreams ever since the Sega Saturn version of the forms of the original game, but I'll talk more about that as soon as we get this thing started. So, I think I might as well get started with Will's Dream first. So either way though, and I'll get to the forms of helium stream and during at some point later on throughout the month. So either way though, yeah, let's get started with Night's Journey of Dreams.
Dad? Dad? Dad!
And of course, just like in Nights into Dreams, we start things off with the opening introductioning, depending on which character you're obviously gonna go for. So either way though, it looks like that Will's dream is all about, well, playing his football game apparently, or soccer game depending on what country you lived in, and it turns out that somehow he just got bullied by any other bullies out there. So yeah, this is the hub world in terms of Night's Journey of Dreams, known as the Dream Gate. There's nothing we can do about this, apart from the fact that it just goes straight forward, but you can able to actually just jump and move around with the control stick and the C stick if you manage to maneuver the camera, which is awesome in theory, but as far as the other controls, I have no comments on that, so yeah.
Visitor from another world. Welcome. I take it that this is your first time here.
Whoa!
I am Owl. I have lived here since, well, since long before you were born. I'll bet that you're wondering just where here is, eh? Well, have the things you've seen when you're asleep ever felt particularly real to you? Have you ever thought for sure that it all had to be something more? Well, that's because what you people think of as dreams is really this world.
A world of dreams?
Precisely. This is the night dimension, the place people make their way to when they're asleep. This area here is known as the Dream Gate. Oh, well, if it isn't that carefree little rascal again.
Hey, now this one looks interesting. My name is NiGHTS. What's yours? I'm Will. Will, huh? Say, Will, have you ever thought about flying? If you dualize with me, you can check it out for yourself. Want to give it a shot? Dualize?
Oh, dualizing allows your bodies to assimilate with one another. It's probably much easier to understand if you just try it. Go over and touch NiGHTS. You'll see what I mean.
And of course, if you ever played any NiGHTS game before, all you have to do is just basically just dualize with NiGHTS, and hopefully we'll get into the actual gameplay. I know I was gonna able to actually be silent for this scene, although to be quite frank, there wasn't any dialogue or anything like that, so I must admit though, yeah, that's what I was thinking about anyway. So, anyways, and here we go on to a tutorial segment in terms of Knight's Journey of Dreams, and basically this owl character right here will tell us how to play, and if depending on what controller methods you're going to be going in for, basically you would be able to actually get a lot of usage on the forms of control schemes. So, and obviously since we're going to be playing this with the GameCube controller, which is my preferred option, so either way though, because again, due to comfortable design and button layout, I know some people don't like motion controls as much, compared to the forms of several other Wii titles out there, like The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Super Mario Galaxy and stuff like that, because those games do have fluid motion controls, but I digress. Let's not talk about those right now. So here's the gameplay in terms of Knight's Journey of Dreams. Basically it plays out exactly like how it did in the forms of Knight's Into Dreams ever since back in the old days of Sega Saturn, where basically you're able to actually fly for a bit and you go fly through rings to able to add up some more points in addition with those Link's combos. And also you can able to pick up those little crystal warps here and there as well. And every once in a while you can also just manage to perform the power loops, which are basically just like an acrobatic kind of skills you can able to perform by able to actually just well, surrounding with the actual power loop kind of ring, and basically if you manage to do that, then you will able to actually absorb some of the other crystal orbs to you. So it's super recommendable if you really want to get the best rankings in terms of the entire playthrough of the game, especially if you ever played the original game before. So either way though, today's day is of course the 1st of February today, in this case in 2021, so in this case the second month of the year starts. So not much else to talk about, apart from the fact that, well, I'll explain more details about that specific stuff whenever we get on to the forms of the later portions of this game. So because of this though, for right now we're still focusing on the tutorial stuff, so even then just to get used to with the main mechanics of the game, as well as how the controls work in this game. Obviously you use the control stick to move around, and then press the A or the B button, depending on what buttons you're going to be pressing. You can able to perform a drill dash, which can be very useful in some scenarios if you really don't want to lose your Link's combos all the time. So, and of course every once in a while though, much like the original game, there's going to be some Nightmare enemies that you do have to dish out with. So as long as you were able to deal with that, then you should deal with that no problem. So either way though, and this is where the point where we're going to have to utilize the large power loop, so that way we can get a whole bunch of chains of, you know what I mean, crystal balls, and that way, or crystal orbs, I like to say for this point, sorry for a little bit of attention right there. So basically, if you manage to create a massive power loop, you can actually get yourselves the ridiculous amount of chain combos with the links and stuff like that, which, again, super recommendable and all that jazz, especially noticeable if you really want to get the best rankings in this game. So yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Hey, hold it! You see that black sea down there? Make sure you stay away from it.
Ah, yes. You must never go near the dark ocean. It is a world of chaos and void. Ooh. If you slip in, you may never return.
Okay, that wasn't bad for your first time. Let's get back to the Dream Gate.
Ho! How curious! The door to NiGHTopia has appeared.
NiGHTopia?
That red light. That's the idea of courage.
Huh?
Here in the night dimension, there is a world called NiGHTopia, created by the light of Idia. I see. Your Idia called this door into being.
That's amazing, Will! Most visitors end up losing their Idia on their way here. But that Idia creates the paradise called NiGHTopia. Let's check it out. A paradise? That's right. I'll see you there.
I do wish that knights would sit still just for once. Oh well, I suppose I'll finish telling you the rest in NiGHTopia then.
I've got to admit though right away, I'm not a big fan of the presentation of it. Although, the CGI opening intro sequence is actually not too bad. However, for the in-game though, it pretty much becomes like a PlayStation 2 game, which I have no idea why I'm pointing things out. But before we get into the forms of the very first world in the game, we actually have to grab our dream drops, which I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be used for anyway, but in fact, let me know in the comments, because this is actually my first time actually playing this game during the course of this particular Let's Play so far. So, but either way though, we'll point that out and whenever when someone said in the comments. So, anyways, let's get into the forms of the very first world in this game, which appears to be by the forms of Pure Valley. So, in this case, it's more accurately a spiritual sequel to Spring Valley, except the fact that the visuals do look alright in terms of the environments, but as far as character models are concerned, they look a bit rough around the edges though, I must admit. And why does it say the first mission on there? Oh, wait a second, I'll talk more about it as soon as the cutscene starts.
Wow, this is NiGHTopia. Hey, Will! Over here!
Allow me to introduce the NiGHTopians. They are the residents of this world. They are kind, gentle folk who love to sing and play. What's the matter?
I've been looking for you, Knights. Where's your persona? Took it off again, did you?
Riala, did you come all the way here just to nag me?
I go out of my way, and this is how you treat me. Seize the traitor.
Hey! Let me go! Knights!
Stay back, lad. You're no match for that one.
Listen to the old bird, boy. Now go, you three. Go and lock up the prisoner. I will return shortly.
Those were nightmares from the dark realm of nightmare. They aim to take Idia from visitors so they can destroy NiGHTopia. But wait.
Huh?
You have the red Idia. I believe you may be able to neutralize that cage. If you can get into the cell and then duelize with knights, the both of you will be able to escape.
Really?
Ah, yes, of course. The effect will not last long, however. You'll need to get the keys back from the guards before being dragged back to the cell.
And of course, much like in any other Knights games, ever since, well, let's just say in the very first Knights game, which is of course Knights into Dreams, basically, that Knights is actually in the forms of the cage, and basically, in order to progress, that we have to able to meet up with Knights to able to duelize her, and basically that you would able to actually start flying. So even then though, and if you couldn't tell already, for the sake of the forms of what the structure of the game is like, well, again, it's very similar to the original game, that's for sure. And basically, the biggest difference is this time around, though, is that those crystal orbs can no longer be usable in terms of the forms of, well, just trying to make your way to the forms of the actual cage. Because instead, we need to go ahead and deal with those specific stuff divided into missions. Yes, this is very much exactly similar to Sonic and the Secret Rings, where it's all mission-based. And basically, the first mission we need to go through is the fact that we need to go through point A to point B sometimes until you're able to actually attack the actual bird. And if you attack the bird, then you receive the key. And if you grab the key, you need to go all the way back to where you came from for that specific cage. and every once in a while, much like the forms of Night into Dreams, basically it will move on to the next section. So, and basically depending on how well you did on the forms of some segments of the level, you get yourselves ranks depending on how well you did in most of the actual missions, or specifically, some portions of the level. So even then though, like for instance, for example, the first part of this mission, I got myself a B rank. And of course the highest rank in this is obviously the A rank, much like the forms of the original Nights into Dreams, except the fact that it's all color oriented, rather than just a weird polygon kind of stuff, which either way though, that might be seems obvious at that point. So either way though, I'm gonna say this right now, much like the forms of Nights into Dreams, which I believe, Piglet and Mickey did this, the first game or something? I have no idea, because it has been a really long time since I actually watched ourselves, Nights into Dreams Let's Play, even though I will, point that out whenever we get on to the second part of this. I mean, usually, relatively speaking, the uploading schedules for this game is gonna be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And as far as Tuesdays and Thursdays are concerned, you guys might able to find out at some point during the forms of tomorrow. So because of that though, yeah, not much else to say about the fact that, well, recently that Nintendo Switch has been outsold the 3DS recently, as in the forms of the actual recent update. Oh wow, I've got my first A rank, so pretty top notch, I have to say. And anyway, with the 3DS has been still in 75 million units sold. In this case, recently for the Nintendo Switch, as in the December 31st in last year in 2020. In this case, the very final day in 2020 as a whole. Basically, the Nintendo Switch has now been sold for about 79.87 million units, which is honestly really awesome. Even though the next thing they are also able to try to reach up to is to hopefully try to outsold any other like systems, or to be more specifically, trying to outsold the PlayStation Portable up next. Even though it almost comes close to 80 million units sold, which I will say it is so successful so far. But I'm not exactly sure of how long will the Nintendo Switch lifespan will gonna be. But either way though, we'll talk more about that in the future. Specifically, if there are going to be some new games coming out for it. Especially noticeable that we've only got about, you know what I mean, 11 days left until Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury will be releasing for the Switch until mainly specifically 11 days time now. So I'm very excited for it. So, yeah, there's not much else to say. And, obviously, in this first mission, all you have to do is basically the fact that, well, you just have to catch the bird, and then basically after you deal with the bird, then you were able to receive the key, and then just bring it back into what you trying to able to make your way to the cage. So, but here's the big differences this time around compared to the forms of how it does it in the forms of the original Nights into Dreams. Rather than dividing into 4 segments, instead we now into the forms of 3 segments, which is a little bit lesser compared to the forms of how it does in the original though. I'm not exactly sure why. That makes a huge changes for that part, but either way though, we'll talk more about that whenever we get into the later progressioning for the sake of this Let's Play. So, yeah, that seems very obvious standard stuff. But anyway, so now we've got the 3rd key, and now we need to go all the way back to the cage. So, in fact, the actual map on the top right corner, it always reminds me like a Mario Kart map, except, well, rather than just dealing with racing and stuff like that. So, because of that, though, we have to divide into, like, you know, do different missions and stuff. So, and anyway, once you grab all 3 keys in that cage, then obviously the actual, the loop kind of thing is now over and done with. And also, much like the forms of Nights into Dreams, that once you're done with all 3 segments, well, usually 3 in this game, I believe we'll come across into boss fights. So, yeah, it makes it a little bit standard stuff, basically, in terms of how, the structure of the game itself, it looks like. And of course, here we go with the very first boss fight in the game, which appears to be by the forms of this very familiar clown fight. I know exactly what his guy's name was though, because it has been a while since I actually played Knight's Journey of Dreams. Well, technically Knight's Into Dreams for the Sega Saturn version specifically. So, yeah, all you have to do is basically is the fact that we need to launch Dawn Balloon all the way up to the top of the actual arena. So it's very similar to the forms of the original version of him, on the Sega Saturn version at least, except the biggest difference is now, rather than taking place in a horizontal arena, instead it's now vertical. So even then though, all you have to do is just bash into those gates, and he's down for good. So even then though, relatively an easy boss fight. So, and every once in a while though, much like the original Nights into Dreams, it tells you what the results are, and basically it gives us the final ranking, depending on how well you did in the majority of the first mission. So, and it looks like we got ourselves a glorious A rank to start with, so that's a really great start. So yeah, pretty top notch. And of course I said this before, this is going to be mission based, so yeah, we're not exactly done with this entire dream just yet though. So because of that though, to move on to the next world, you have to complete every mission in depending on what dream you're going to be exploring onto.
Oh, splendid job, visitor. Defeating that giant nightmare was no small feat. Whoo!
No, that was just Knight's power.
Even so, you mustn't rest on your laurels just yet. All visitors originally have a total of 5 different Idia. Fortunately, you've managed to hold on to your Idia of courage. The remaining 4 are the Idia of purity, intelligence, growth, and hope. They are white, blue, green, and yellow, respectively. Until you retrieve all of the Idia, Nightopia cannot become whole. Idia are the very source of Nightopia. The fact that Nightopia currently exists at all means that the other Idia must be someplace in this world, very likely hidden. Listen closely, visitor. These Idia are of your very heart. Retrieve the remaining 4 Idia, and your heart will win out over the nightmare.
Gee, no pressure or anything.
You needn't worry, visitor. Knights will be with you. And I shall do what I can to keep an eye on you, and help you out to the best of my ability.
I mean, if you ever think about it with those cinematic cutscenes, by the way, is that, again, it reminds me of like a PlayStation 2 game, like, pretty jarring frame rate, and also to top it off, the animation do look a bit weird sometimes. And by the way, this is where you come across into that another new door, which I think could be something related to online play. But of course Nintendo Wi-Fi connection has been dead recently, so but either way though, there's nothing else to talk about, apart from the fact that I will briefly talk about it until later on. But for now, let's head back onto the forms of Pure Valley and try to take on the forms of the second mission, which it might be seems fine and fun, but either way though, we'll point that out until whenever we're able to dive right in. So either way though, yeah, I've no idea how long these loading screens are going to be taking a while. Oh, there we go.
Hoo-hoo! Octopaw has squirreled himself away in that jar.
Octopaw?
Octopaw is an unusual creature. When he flies, he expels a series of rings.
Hey, he ran off. Come on, Will. Shall we have some fun? Let's follow him. Let's see how many of those rings we can fly through.
Okay, so in this mission is the fact that it's like a combo chain reaction mission. And what do I mean by that? Well, in this mission that we need to able to link up 30 links, and if you do that, then the mission is done. However though, you only got about 5 attempts for this mission, so either way though, Because chances are, though, is the fact that it kind of reminds me of one of those missions in Sonic and the Secret Rings called the Chain of Rings, that you have to specifically keep up with the chain reaction, because the longer you do it, then you would be able to get the better ranking. So, but either way though, that could be same applies to this as well, except that you're obviously trying to do a lot of links here and there. So either way though, for the most part, this mission is not too bad, honestly. Until the third mission, one wasn't really terribly fond of, which we'll point it out whenever we get into it. So either way though, yeah, for the most part, you have to keep up with the actual chains, and that's all you really have to do in this mission. So, but yeah, that's as far as I can say in terms of the forms of this particular news, infos, or anything else like that. Apart from there was one little problematic in terms of the forms of recently for the NiGHTS YouTube channel. You realize about the fact that, well, we usually did Super Mario 64 DS alongside with the forms of Banjo-Kazooie Let's Play. These Let's Plays are no longer there in our original versions of those Let's Plays, and also same applies to Mario vs. Donkey Kong, because let me tell you, we'll do those again, but in much more better quality than the forms of how it does it in the past years. So, but then again, we'll talk more about those during at some point. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. And it looks like I actually got another A rank. So I believe to get that, you have to get like, I would say 100 or more link combos. So that way you would be able to get the best ranking, no problem. So yeah, top notch. Especially noticeable that for my first impressions of the gameplay is actually not that bad. Except for the actual visuals sometimes. Well, usually for character models and all that stuff. So, seemingly to say is the fact that we'll probably go ahead and end things off at this point right here. So, yeah, join me next time on Let's Play Knight's Journey of Dreams. Is that we are still continuing things on Pure Valley, and hopefully we'll try and move on to the next one. So I'll see you guys until on Wednesday. Later, fellas.